my channel Little Life Guru, and today I'm going to be showing my 10 favourite inexpensive baby products. So these are not the big things like prams and baths and cots and stuff like that. These are small things that will help you day by day and that I personally found incredibly helpful for me with my baby. So I'm first of all going to start off with bath time, bedtime, nappy time, that kind of thing, so covering all those things. So this was actually a gift given to me by my best friend, but up until about the age of 7 months I used this, and it was so lovely, and it was not only great for her skin and keeping it nice and moisturized in a very natural way, but it was a lovely way for my husband to bond with my daughter and have some skin to skin time. Obviously she was getting loads with me through breastfeeding and then, you know, just through feeding in general. So this is the product. It's called Kokoso Baby Premium Organic Coconut Oil, and this tub was £8. I used it every single day. You can see there's still loads left in there. What I love about it is that it's super gentle on your baby's skin. It smells amazing, and it's just really lovely to apply. So I'll just show you. So you just take a tiny bit like this, and when you apply it to the skin, it actually starts, if you can see, it's gone pretty much. It starts to melt in with the heat of your body temperature basically, and she really loved it, and it was just a really nice smell. It didn't mark clothes, so it didn't make clothes greasy, and it didn't cling to the skin, so it very quickly got absorbed by her skin, and it really helped with things like a little bit of her cradle cap, which she had quite a bit in the middle here, but also with just some dry patches that she had after she came out. So I absolutely love that, and I used it again actually the other day because I realised I hadn't used it for a long time, and she really enjoyed it. It's also safe if they put it in their mouth, on their hands, their feet. It's really, really gentle because it's you know, a natural product. So absolutely love that. I highly recommend it. And I will put the link to all these products in the description so that you can get them if you want to. So that's body. Moving on to bottoms, very important, and you will discover, hopefully you will not experience really bad nappy rash with your child. I think it's more prevalent with breastfed babies than it is with formula. My daughter was predominantly formula fed, so we didn't experience too much nappy rash, though it's become more prominent since she's been weaned. Again, this was a recommendation from a friend. This is my favourite nappy rash cream for general nappy rash, and it's called Bepanthen. They always have names that are really, really hard to pronounce. But fantastic product, and I've just found that applying this a little bit gets everything to go away. If you have harsher nappy rash, this was recommended to me recently, and again I will attempt to try and pronounce this. Metaneum nappy rash ointment. This is a little bit stronger. It's actually yellowy, so it does mark clothes. However, so it looks a bit like this, if you can see that, and it comes out quite quick. However, she had really bad tummy, and we were changing her nappy, I think the most was 8 or 9 times. Now that probably doesn't sound like very much when you've got a newborn, you're changing their nappies all the time, wet nappies anyway, and a lot of other nappies too, but when they get closer to 1, they usually have like 1 regular poo a day. So she had a really bad upset tummy, so this one wasn't doing the job. So what this does is it creates a barrier between a barrier on the skin between that and obviously the waist, you know, and that really helped because she was really raw and really sore. So I would highly recommend that. And you can get both of these from Boots or any pharmacy. They're pretty common products. This one was recommended to me by the doctor, so I have both. You can also get these in smaller tubes, which is great because you can take them around in your change bag with you. Soother cream's great, and I do still use that now and again, but it is sometimes more of a barrier, and it doesn't necessarily heal real nappy rash. So I would go for this. So another product, I know that water wipes are really popular, but they're also really expensive. At the beginning, when you have your baby, you'll be using cotton wool and warm water to clean her or him, and then you'll move on to wipes, which are a lot more convenient and can be used for multiple things. So now obviously I use them for when she's having her meals, to clean up after her, clean me, because often I get food or something else on me. But the water wipes are really expensive. So there are two kinds. I don't have the other here, but Morrison's and Sainsbury's do their own wipes. And the Little Ones brand is Sainsbury's, and Nutmeg is the children's brand, baby brand for Morrison's. Really, really like these. I think they're 60p or less than that. So also super affordable, especially when you're going through one of these maybe a week or a little more. They are dermatologist approved and fragrance free, which I really like. I just found with fragrance things it just irritated her. There's a nice clip on the top seal. I totally am against these reseal things, plastic things. They always dry out. You spend loads of money on wipes. The clear plastic seal falls off. It just used to drive you mad. And they clip like that, and everything stays fresh inside and nice and moistured. And these are really watery, so they're great to put on her face if I need to clean her face, sometimes to clean around her eyes, any other part of her body really, and they're also good for me to use. So I would highly recommend those. Bottles and dummies. So dummies can be a bit of a contentious subject. Some people are very pro, some people are very anti, some people are somewhere in the middle. Having had a baby myself, I think you become more open to trying things, especially when you have a baby that might cry all the time, or doesn't sleep easily, or wants to be on the boob all the time. I've noticed from conversations with some of my mummy friends that babies that are formula fed early on are much more privy to a dummy and will take and accept a dummy than those who are breastfed. Naturally they want the boob because that's so much nicer. So she didn't have that as an option, unfortunately, with me. So I didn't know a lot about dummies, but I knew that they could have an impact later on speech and also on teeth development. So I looked for a brand that made sure that these two things weren't affected. Now obviously, like with anything, you need to use with measure and caution, but I really like these MAM dummies. Now this is a 12-month plus one, but we've had them since she was a couple of months old. I think we got her first one. I particularly like these ones because they glow in the dark, so they're really easy to find at night when you're fishing around a cot or on the floor on your hands and knees. Not in the cot, but in the nursery on your hands and knees trying to find it, or in the car, or anything like that, in the bottom of a bag you'll find it. I think it's a really clever idea. And she loves them. They also come in, unfortunately I don't have it, this is also you can see actually because it's got like a nighttime moon and a little rabbit sleeping on there. So they come in all different colours, so you can choose. And they come in a really great little box that you can use to sterilise in your microwave, which I think was such a clever idea. So I've hung on to one of those now because I've gone through so many dummies, and I use that to sterilise them. So that's brilliant. They also come with these very clever dummy clips, which you place onto the dummy like so. It means you don't lose it. You will go through a lot of dummies, you will lose a lot of dummies. They're quite expensive. It's got a velcro bit here which allows you to take off this material part and wash it. I usually just put it in a mug of boiling water. If it's got food on, then I'll wash it with some fairy liquid, something like that, and give it a real thorough rinse because sometimes it goes in her mouth. And then at the end it's got a clip like this which you open, and then I'll just show you, for example, if you're putting it on a muslin, just happen to have a muslin here, you slide the fabric in between, okay, and then you take the plastic bit here and you clamp it down. Though by the time they get to one, they get very clever and they figure out how to take this off. But she likes to also chew on this bit now that she's teething. You can get some that have teething balls along here. We've got one. It's now moving on to formula. So if you are formula feeding your baby, you may find that carrying formula around during the day, particularly when they're younger, when you might need to have up to 3, 4, 5 feeds on you, can be quite a challenge. I discovered this Avant formula carrier. I don't know the actual official name. I will put the link in the description box below. I've actually got some formula in there at the moment, which you could probably see. What's great about this is one, it's machine washable, which is great. So there's a little tab here. I'm just going to lift that up. Okay, so I've taken the lid off, and you can see in there are 3 compartments, which actually you could fill with anything if you wanted to fill them with berries, fruit, food, whatever, but primarily this is for carrying powder around. So I scoop into there the correct amount that I need for her now, which she's on Aptamil, and it's 7 scoops to 210 or 200 mils of water or 7 ounces of water. And this part actually comes out, as you'll see, so you can wash it. But the whole point of having this container here and then slotting this in is that it holds it in place so that you can, once this lid's on, you can move the top of this around to take you to the compartment that you want to get to, which is great. So it means that you're only going to be opening one section with one feed, and you're not going to be losing powder. And then it's a really easy lift up, and then you literally take the lid of the bottle, tip over. I shake from side to side to make sure you get all of it out. It's really good for when you're out, when you're rushing to make a bottle up, when they're kicking off. It doesn't take up too much room. So this probably is my favorite product. It really changed my life insofar as giving me the freedom to go out. Otherwise I used to carry tiny little Tupperwares around, or I used to go and buy the pre-made ready Aptamil milk, which is really expensive. And also I think it tastes slightly different to the powder version when you make it up yourself, so she never really liked it. So that is a really, really great product. I would highly recommend that. For bottles, so if you're bottle feeding, and you will move on to bottles at some point anyway, even if you're breastfeeding, I'd recommend that you get yourself a bottle brush. Now you can go to IKEA, I think they do a bottle brush there. You can just go and get a brush, and you keep it always separate to any dish brush that you use at home. But what I would recommend about getting this one is that the shape of the brush makes it easy to get into the bottle and get all the way around, give it a good clean. But also it's this bit here, which is great. So it's slightly ridged. And this part actually goes into the teat, which allows you to clean within the teat, which is really important because obviously that's where most of the bacteria is going to fester. This is another Avant, so it's the same make as this, which kind of makes sense because they look similar, don't they, colour wise. This is Avant by Philips. Philips, who make stereos and TVs, they make really great baby products. Who knew? So yeah, this part here cleans out the teats, and you can hang it up on a little hook if you want to keep it dry. And this has come everywhere with us, so we've taken it abroad. I'd highly recommend it, and I will put a link to it down below. La, 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 la. I can actually sing better than that, but anyway, I need some coffee. Moving on, so I've got a few more products. So this is by Newbie. They also make quite a lot of teething products. I found their teething toys excellent, and I see a lot of mums out with them on their prams. My daughters really like them, but these are super duper cool. And I'm going to show you both because I have one in blue and one in pink, because I don't believe in dressing girls just in pink, but that does sometimes mean that people think I have a son, but hey ho. I wear blue. I don't see why a girl shouldn't wear blue. So they're great for several reasons. One, they come in these really cute designs, and they're reversible. So if they get a little sick or have a little mess, and it dries hopefully, then you can change it around. They don't look like a complete mess all day. Also, it means that you get 2 bibs in one. So each day you can have a slightly different design. This bit is fantastic because it's really soft and chewy and rubbery, and it's great for teething. And she just, now less so, but at the beginning chewed on this all the time, which means that you don't end up having a child with a wet chest where you can get rashes from them being damp because of that. And it also means that the bib won't be totally soaked through, which you'll experience a lot of. There's velcro parts here, so one here, one here, and they hold together really nicely, and it gives a lovely little kind of, I call it like a little cowboy cowgirl neckerchief design. So they come in a whole array of designs now. So you've got the blue polka dot with the butterflies and flowers, and you get the pink polka dot with, it's like circle design and a little, that looks like a ladybird. So yeah, love these, and she does too. By the time they're about 11 months, 10, 11 months, they get clever at pulling things off, but she just pulls it off and then she just goes around there sucking it. So clearly she still really likes it, but she just doesn't want something around her neck. So these are great. I believe they come in packs of 2, and they now have a whole array of designs. I bought mine from Sainsbury's and Waitrose, so I think they're in a lot of main supermarkets in the UK. And then this is my final small buy suggestion. If you find yourself traveling with a baby and you're trying to travel light, you need to do feeds. So for example, your baby is in the process of weaning or is weaned. This is great. It saves you taking out multiple bibs and having to carry around really messy food soaked bibs. So this is by Tommy Tippy. It comes in blue, pink, purple, green. They only had pink and blue at the time. I think they only had pink, so I went for this pink. Really liked it. It's a silicone rubber. It's wipe down. This is why it's so good. So I've used it loads when we've been traveling by car and had to stop at service stations to feed her. It just means that I can have this in the bag, wipe it down with one of my wet wipes, and it's good to go again for dinner. And I'm not having to worry about, for example, if I can get to a washing machine, which obviously when you're at home, like me, I'm sure you're putting loads in all the time. And what I really like about it is I roll it up like so. Yeah, and you can even squidge it like that if you want it. It goes in your lunch bag, in your change bag. It's just super duper easy. And yeah, then it goes out, and you've got various adjustable sections. And the great thing is, I think it looks very good on me too, is that it collects the food. When you're traveling, it's just even more hassle having to pick up after your child, you know, and clean up after them. And they do tend to, when they're, well, even now that she's fully weaned, she drops so much food. So yeah, it's going to also mean that, like, for example, if you're stopping, like we were at service stations, you can do quick meal times, minimum mess, minimum fuss, and you're good to go for your next one wherever the next meal might be. So my last product that I would recommend is this spoon, and it's by Munchkin. Now, the reason why I'm recommending this spoon is one thing that I really struggled with my daughter was that she refused spoons. Now, it ended up being that she very much wanted to self-wean, which is great. But at the beginning, obviously, I was trying to feed her purees and, you know, really mashed up pureed food. And I tried about 6 different spoons. My recommendation would be just persevere. And try different spoons and get them to hold one whilst you're feeding them, and you feed them with one. That was a piece of advice a friend gave me, which was great. So they kind of get used to putting it in their mouth and chewing on it and associating it with something positive. So it may have been that the persevering is what happened, but I also found that a lot of the spoons that are available for weaning are far too big for little babies' mouths. And actually what you want to be doing when you're putting puree, for example, on like pureed fruit, is you want to just be putting almost like a dot at the end, because you'll find with your baby that they'll probably only take about half or 3/4 of the spoon anyway. Otherwise, if you do a full spoon, you end up getting it coming up here and you lose a lot of the food, and it's just a real mess really. So I really like Munchkin. They do other spoons which are even more dipped and flat, which look really good, but these are the ones that she loved, and they come in I think a pack of 6 or 8 lots anyway. So I've left a few at both the grandparents so that I've got spoons there when I go over and stay, and I don't have to take stuff. And they come in a whole array of really funky colours. So I would recommend those. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my video of my sort of small buys, small baby products that I would recommend. If you've got any questions, or in fact you've got some suggestions, you know, products you found that were really useful, I'd really appreciate your feedback and your advice. I'm always looking for new things for her, and as she's getting a bit older, she's outgrowing some stuff as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.